Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a vegan, lactose-free chocolate cake. So I found this recipe online a long time ago, and after making it a few times and making some adjustments, I finally found what works best. You will need 1.5 cups of sifted all-purpose flour, 1/3 of a cup of sifted cocoa powder, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And for the wet ingredients, you'll need 1/2 cup of lukewarm water, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. To replace the eggs, we're using 1/2 cup of unsweetened applesauce, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. The tools you'll need are 2 6-inch round cake pans, 1 whisk, parchment paper, and 2 large bowls for mixing. So first you'll start off by putting all your dry ingredients in one bowl and all your wet ingredients in the other bowl. So now that I've whisked all my dry ingredients together, that's ready to go. I'll whisk all my wet ingredients together. This is what your finished batter will look like. It's a little thick, so what I like to do is either take a little bit of water or a little bit of soy milk and loosen it up. So I'm just using this silk almond milk here, and I'll just add a little bit of that at a time. So this is now what my finished batter looks like. You can see it's quite runny. I just think this is the best consistency to get the most moist cake, and it actually gives you more cake batter too, so you can get a larger cake by doing this. If you don't feel comfortable just adding by consistency, I would say add about 1/2 cup of soy milk. Now that we've got our batter ready, we'll preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While we're waiting for that to warm up, we're gonna line our 2 6-inch cake pans with parchment paper. What I like to do is just rip a little bit off, fold it in half, once you've folded it in half, you can now place one of your cake pans on top, and we're going to draw an outline around the cake pan. So now that we have our outline here, we can just cut this circle once, and since it's folded in half, we'll have a perfect circle for both our cake pans. So now you can see I've cut my circles, and I've just lined the bottoms of my cake pans. Key to getting your cakes to be even is to scale out your batter when you're pouring it into your cake pans. That way you can have both your cake pans weighing the exact same weight, and they should be the exact same height. Now that both my cake pans weigh the exact same weight, we'll put them on a tray and put them in the oven. I usually start with a timer of about 20 minutes for 6-inch cakes, and then I'll check again every 3 to 5 minutes after that. The cakes just came out of the oven. They were in for approximately 31 minutes, 32 minutes. Your cake tester, and it comes out clean, and that's what you want. The cakes have had some time to cool. I'm going to grab my KitchenAid mixer, and we're gonna make vegan buttercream. Got my KitchenAid mixer here. I also have a pink one. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to use that one in the next video. Even though it's a small cake, I'm still going to use about 3/4 of this block. Crisco all vegetable shortening. So now we're going to let that whip for about 5 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. So now that that's been whipping for about 5 minutes, we can lift up the paddle and scrape down the bowl. Now we can start adding the icing sugar. I generally add about 1 cup at a time, and I go till taste. I don't have a specific amount that I really put in. I just don't like my icing too sweet. I added about 4 to 5 cups of icing sugar, and now it's time to add the vanilla. For the vanilla, again, I don't really measure, I just kind of do a little bit in. If I were to say a measurement, I'd probably say about 2 teaspoons. So today, not only am I going to show you how to make a vegan, lactose-free recipe, I'm also going to show you how to design a rose cake. I'm going to actually dye my icing red, So I'm using Americolor here, and I'm using the color Super Red. You do need to use quite a lot of the food coloring to actually get it red. Make sure you scrape down the bowl as you go so that you get all the parts of the icing red, because if you don't, underneath will still be white. This is what you'll need for decorating. I have my pink turntable here, an 8-inch cake board, a small spatula, a piping bag. I just have the Wilton rose tip here. It's not gonna focus in, but it's Wilton 2D. First start by taking your spatula and putting a little bit of icing on the cake board. Just like this. Just so that the cake will stick on. Place your first cake down, center it, and now we're gonna level the cakes. So you need a serrated knife for this. Have your knife and arm just like this at one spot, and do not move this arm. Turn the table, and that's how you start cutting. And eventually, once you get a certain way through, you can kind of just cut it off. And that is how you get a perfectly level cake. So now I'm going to put a little bit of icing in between the layers. So now that my cake has been in the fridge chilling for about 10 minutes, we're ready to start piping our roses. And the way I like to do is just twist my piping bag till it's nice and tight like that, and hold that part with my thumb. A suggestion I can give you is to somewhat press on the cake. Not too hard, obviously, but if you don't have enough pressure on the cake, your roses will just fall off. Another tip that I like to use is kind of dragging the rose this way, and it may look weird at first, but you're going to overlap that part, and it just helps it stay more on the cake. Once you get a few in a row done, they'll look natural. And you can see how every time I'm tightening my piping bag so that it's nice and tight and I don't run out of pressure. So here's the final product, a red rose cake. Thank you guys so much for watching.